Hey guys, we're going to do a video today really quick for the next 30 minutes on questions about bookkeeping, some good bookkeeping practices. I will post the link back onto the main page for this video as well for you that tune in partway through. The videos always post to Danielle's SOS Bookkeeping main page. They don't seem to post to the event pages, which is a little bit silly, so I do apologize in advance. But yeah, we're going to talk about a little bit of things to do with bookkeeping. So, people will ask, why does my company need a bookkeeper? Or should I have a bookkeeper? Or, what exactly does it mean to have bookkeeping done in your business? So, before we dig into that, we're just going to talk about my favorite top 3 bookkeeping essentials to remember. So if you guys are part of my tax group on Facebook, it's called Tax Tips Personal and Business. You can search it, send us a request. We share a whole bunch of things to do with general taxes, bookkeeping, accounting practices, life insurance, sharing our businesses, and just having general discussions. So when we talk about my favorite 3 essentials to remember when it comes to bookkeeping, the first one is that you need to keep track of everything. So people will always laugh when I say that, you need to keep receipts. It's a skill, okay? When we run a business, whether it be an incorporated business or a sole proprietorship, keeping track of everything is honestly just important. It's one of those non-negotiables. And there's lots of people that think, well, if I just keep my bank statements and my credit card statements, that's good enough, but it's not, okay? So you need to be keeping track of all your receipts, all your invoices, all your books and records. So that's your bank statements, your credit card statements, cash receipts, everything, okay? We need to make sure that we're collecting a comprehensive look at everything that went into your business. So that's very important. Now, second most important essential for bookkeeping is that business-related stuff goes through your business account. It ties into number 3, which is keep business and personal separate. In a perfect world, we would all keep all of our accounts separate, but that's not the way it works. But we want to try our best to do that. So what that means is whether or not you're a sole proprietorship or an incorporated business, you need to have a business bank account and you need to have personal bank accounts. And you need to put all of your business income into your business account. And then if you need to pay yourself out of your business account, that's fine. You do a transfer into your personal account. But you need to keep things as clean as possible. So what I do when I sit with clients is I teach them how to budget. And yes, I know budgeting is a dirty word, but when we talk about budgeting and it comes to business, that is one of the most essential things that you need to know. Okay, so what we do is we run the totals for what it looks like to be you in a month. So we take a look at personal and business expenses. And then what we do is we basically draw an arrow. We write a P on one side of the page and a B on the other side of the page. And we start to slot the things in, whether they're personal or business. So if they're inherently business or they're written off 100% into the business, they need to come out of the business bank account. Okay. If they are personal or portions of them are personal, they need to come out of our personal account. So when it comes to bookkeeping, things that are inherently personal are going to be things like, other than select industries, okay, but clothing, groceries, stuff to do with your kids, home expenses, things like that. Those all need to go, vehicle payments, those all need to go through your personal account. Business-related expenses are going to be things like gas and meals and insurances and tools and office supplies and all of that kind of stuff. So if you want more help coming up with a comprehensive list, I'm happy to help you do that. I think that it's something that every single business should look at least once. If you've been in business for more than 5 minutes, hopefully it's something that somebody has pointed out to you. If not, then you need to hit the message button and you need to send me a message and we can sit and do a consultation and just get a good idea of your business health, okay? That's going to be one of the most important things that I can possibly recommend to you. So now let's talk about a few other things to do with bookkeeping. I'm running through my group right now on Facebook, so there's a bunch of resources in here. So as I'm talking about things, we're going to talk about, some of these, and you can go read the articles that go with it. But, so people will ask, what is a bookkeeper? Well, first of all. We're basically the last line of defense between you and CRA. In our office, we do bookkeeping services exclusively, but we also do full cycle accounting. So for some of our clients, we just do the bookkeeping and records, and they have an external accountant that handles it for them. And for others, we do all of the complete services. In both situations, our bookkeeper role is exactly the same. Okay, so my job is to basically manage your financial records. So that means that I'm asking you for the entire picture. I'm questioning every expense that you spend. I'm making sure that things are allocated the way they are, and I'm giving you a very good look at your cash flow if I'm doing my job right. Other parts of my job can be financial planning with you, which is also very big. So we look at influxes between busy and slow seasons. We look at how you're spending your money, where you can cut costs, things that you need, the essentials, all of that kind of stuff. We use accounting software to track your expenses. Popular right now is QuickBooks Online. We are very adept in QuickBooks Online, but we are also adept in QuickBooks Desktop, Caseware, Xero accounting software, Sage or Simply Accounting, and a few others. So basically any way your books are presented to us, we can deal with them. I prefer not to do things like Excel books. There are people that try and run their general ledgers through Excels, and that's great, but when we do the actual accounting, we usually transfer those records into Caseware and do your year-end. There are people that we deal with that do hand ledgers. Awesome. Those are still totally valid. We work with them, we understand them, we're happy to do them. But again, all of those books and records still get transferred into a software, and then we reconcile everything. Part of owning a corporation is that you have to reconcile your corporate bank accounts. So that means that the government needs a record from opening balance to closing balance of every single month so that they know exactly what you're doing with your money and how much you're withdrawing out personally. We also, we can be called upon to train members of your team. I go into people's offices and I help train people in accounts payable, in accounts receivable, in payroll, all kinds of stuff. We have clients that deal in different capacities. We're happy to fill in as needed. We're also there to help resolve problems and mistakes and clear up confusion when it comes to CRA. Everybody knows that CRA is a pain in the behind, and you don't want to deal with him, so that's my job. I'm the middleman, so a lot of the times when we're dealing with audits or we're dealing with questions or we're dealing with, missed payments or, miscoded payments, that's my job to get in the middle because I can deal with CRA a little bit faster than you can. Again, so we are there to help with your business financial workflow. So I'm going to make those recommendations again on things that I see, if you're open to it, on things that you should maybe stop spending money on, maybe some things that you're missing that you should be spending money on, all of that kind of stuff. We're here to streamline your payroll services. So if you're a small enough office that you maybe have 1 or 2 employees, that's great. You can handle your payroll yourself. But as soon as you've got 3, 4, 5, I usually recommend outsourcing it. If you can pay somebody in-house that's trained, that's great. But with the way QuickBooks Online works specifically, super easy to outsource your payroll to us. So because QuickBooks Online works on a hub, I as an accountant get an access account and you send me an invitation to your QuickBooks. You can be in it all day, every day, doing your invoicing, doing your paperwork, all of that. And then all you do at payroll time is you give me a day or 2 between your cutoff and when you want your employees paid. You email me their hours. If there's new employees, I have a form that you fill out and you send it back to me. And then we make sure that that all gets taken care of for you. We can set up automatic deposits so your employees are paid right out of the bank account, or we can give you pay stubs and you issue checks or e-transfers to your staff, as well as making sure you're on your monthly remittances for source deductions. We can also be there to track interest, investments, and asset depreciation. We need to be tracking new assets coming into every business all the time. It's very important. And some businesses will have more assets than others, which is just fine. But when there are assets there and we are talking about different types of depreciation, that's where we come in to make sure that you're getting the biggest bang for your buck on all of those assets. We also can help you set aside money for taxes. So that's, again, going back to the big dirty B word. Budgeting is very important when it comes to your business health, okay? People have this stigma that budgeting is for grandparents and for old people, and that's crap, okay? All it is money management. So you should, as a business owner, have an idea of what's coming into your business and what's going out of your business. If you don't, you're setting your business up to fail. And I'm pretty blunt on that point because there's a lot of people that don't know anything about their own business other than that they're out there and they're charging some invoices and they're, following some people around to get some money, but they don't really know about their financial health. I make that kind of that you got to do that when you're my client, okay? It's so important if you want your business to succeed. We can also help follow up on invoices and chase debitors for payment. Occasionally that happens where we have somebody that, defaults on some payments. Worst case scenario is that if we ourselves cannot help and you can't help, we bring in a collection agency. They are definitely a necessary part of business because there are going to be people that you deal with that just decide that you don't need to get paid. If you work up front and you're not paid, I usually suggest taking deposits. That helps at least cover some of your costs. It doesn't have to be 50% or 100%. It can be 10% or 20% or a set dollar figure. As long as when you take that deposit, you ensure that somebody is willing to work with you and they're serious about working with you, and it drastically reduces the chances of them screwing you over. So, something to consider. Again, we're going to prepare those financial records for your accountant if you have an external accountant, or if you're doing it with us in-house, we're going to do that and then transfer it into our accounting department, and they're going to clear up your year-end on time. Having a monthly bookkeeper or quarterly bookkeeper in your books also helps you stay on top of deadlines. So we, as when we're filing personal taxes, if we're a sole proprietorship, we have until June 15th to file our taxes, but taxes actually, like interest and penalties on taxes owing, still start to add up as of April 30th. So June 15th is the late filing deadline penalty, which is different, but your interest and penalties on your amounts owing start calculating as of April 30th. A lot of people don't know that, so I'm always going to tell you that you should plan to have your taxes done by April 30th. Now, if you get a refund on your taxes, then it doesn't really matter too much when you file. The government doesn't want to give you your money, so you can file all year. Our office offers full year-round personal tax service, and we are pretty busy all year. Once you get past the thick of tax season, the processing times on the refunds also becomes drastically lower, which is why a lot of people will wait and file them a little bit later. But yeah, I mean, the bottom line with bookkeepers is that we keep your business finances running smoothly, and you can focus on serving, customers and growing your business, which is primarily why you're in business. Okay. Let's talk about some other things to do with bookkeeping. We talk about bookkeeping and I mean, it's important, right? It's the biggest part of my job is helping you understand taxes. Okay, it's not the funnest topic, and I get that, but when you're running a business, it's part of your business. Okay, you can't ostrich it and stick your head in the sand and ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist, because it does. Okay, there's a lot that goes into bookkeeping, and like at the end of the day, you're supposed to be out there building your business, and you don't need to be worrying about your paperwork. Okay, that's just not it's inefficient. So that's why we offer that service. We can come in, we can do it in office, we can do it externally, we can do it online, we can train your people to do it. There's lots and lots and lots of options, but you as the business owner and you as the management staff need to be out there growing your business, dealing with customers, and not worrying about your books. Okay. So like I said, just to recap, some bookkeeping principles, some bookkeeping activities that we deal with are going to be recording sales and tracking invoices. So if you are busy, and you're like, I'm just falling behind on my piles of paperwork, you need a bookkeeper. We can monitor your accounts receivable. So again, if you're finding that you are having a really hard time applying payments and your invoicing looks all funny, you need a bookkeeper. We can work with billing clients for services provided, so I can actually do your invoicing for you if you'd like. I can cut checks to pay your bills if you would like. If any of these things are popping up as red flags, you need a bookkeeper. We can pay supplier invoices, like I said. We can prepare employee payroll and processing government reports, which is your source deductions, scheduling those advance so that they're paid by the 15th of the following month, so you're not incurring penalties. We record the depreciation, and we produce accurate financial reports. So again, normally we use accounting software, but we can do it in lots of other means, or we can deal with basically whatever your books look like. There's lots and lots and lots of different ways that we can get around that. So, we talk about, when is my business ready to have a bookkeeper? And I mean, that's a good question. There's lots of different people that are like, well, I think that if I'm not drowning, that I'm doing okay. Honestly, that's probably not the case. I think that when you find that there's a hole in your boat, a lot of the time it's accounting. It's just that's how it works. Okay. So signs that you're ready to get a bookkeeper. You can afford to get a bookkeeper. If you are pinching every single penny and, your cash flow is tight, I mean, yes, you could possibly, you could hire a bookkeeper, but you need to be able to afford to pay us to do what we do. Now, if we're doing what we do well, then we earn every penny that we bill out, or at least I believe that. You know, hopefully you're looking for somebody local, you're looking for somebody that has, you know, proper credentials, but outsourcing that task, it's just the bare minimum. You need to do that. It will help increase the internal processes that you guys have, and like I said, let you focus on growing your business and dealing with customers. So, second reason why you're ready to get a bookkeeper is you aren't doing your books, you're putting them off for months. So, I built my business on, you know, Danielle's SOS bookkeeping. So SOS, so save my soul. We want your ugly, daunting box of paperwork. That's how I got started. And you know what? In, you know, 6 years of business, that's resonated from day one to today. And it will remain true because a lot of people, and quite frankly, it's a little bit of stubbornness and a little bit of pride. And I can appreciate that because I'm a very stubborn person, and I never realized how much pride I had until I got into business. But I'm not too proud to ask for help. And that's something that you have to look at, okay? Asking for help in your business is not admitting failure. It's not saying that you're not good enough. It's just saying that your time is better spent in other places. And that's why we lean on external teams. I myself could change my oil in my car. I don't know how to, but I'm sure I could YouTube it, but I'm not going to because I don't have time to do it. I have time spent better in my business, growing my business, helping my clients, so I hire a mechanic. It just makes sense, okay? I could cut my own hair. But I don't. I hire a hairstylist that takes care of me once a month. And that's good because, again, I don't have the time to do that. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to lean on a team. Successful businesses have multi-part management teams that help, you know, divvy out the responsibility. They have specific people in place that do specific jobs. And, you know, your books and records is one of the most critical components of your business. It is not something you should be embarrassed to ask for help. It is not something that you should be beating yourself up on because you can't do yourself. Because if you are too busy growing your business and meeting with customers, it means you're successful. And it means that your business is probably growing. And your stubbornness about doing your own books is probably the thing that's holding you back. I want you to let that sink in for a second. Okay? So, if you don't, you know, if you find that you're a couple months behind or you're having a hard time keeping up with deadlines, you're ready for a bookkeeper. Now, maybe you just hate doing the books, okay? This is a great excuse to get a bookkeeper. There are a lot of people that say, I'm good at what I do, books make me nauseous. Great! You need a bookkeeper, okay? That's perfectly fine. You don't have to want to do anything. I am weird. I love doing books. I love problem solving. I like looking at puzzles. I like taking a mess and turning it into something beautiful. And I love showing people, you know, a very straightforward education about their own company. I think that that's so important. Like I said, and I've said this a million times, is that your business will not succeed if you don't understand your business. Now, you don't have to understand your business to the point that accountants do, which is all the, you know, accounting jumble. But you do need to understand your cash flow and your workflow and whether or not, based on your bottom line, you're borrowing, you're begging, or you're succeeding. Okay, these are very, very, very important things if you're going to succeed in business. So those are, you know, those are some just quick and easy things that you need to know about whether or not you're ready to, you know, have a bookkeeper. Now, let's talk about some bookkeeping tasks. So maybe you're doing some of your own bookkeeping tasks in-house, and then you're still bringing your books to us every month or every quarter. Perfectly great. We're going to talk about some tasks that need to get done and when they need to get done. Okay? So on a weekly basis, we need to be checking bank balances. So we need to be watching what's coming in and out of our bank account. We need to know if our cash flow is too low. We need to know if we need to be borrowing. We need to be moving money to credit cards and lines of credit, making sure that loan payments are paid, making sure that payroll is paid, all of those fun things, okay? We need to pay bills and mark them as paid. If that should definitely be done on a weekly basis. So you're making sure that you're not falling behind on times with your suppliers and your vendors. Very, very important. You need to save and organize receipts. So there are lots and lots of ways that we can do that. If you guys are in need of a simple system as far as organizing your receipts, just hit the send message button and send me a message, and I will send you a very easy cheat sheet to follow. If you organize your receipts like that, it's great. You don't have to keep them perfectly organized, but you just need to have them all in one place, okay? If at the very least, get a shoebox, one for your car and one for your house, and pile those receipts in there, okay? If you never get them organized, that's fine. Bring me a big, ugly, messy box of paperwork. I have no issue with that. But you need to put them in one place, okay? If you do not keep your receipts, it is like throwing the value of that receipt out in cash. Do you want to lose $40 every day? No. We talk about coffee. I drink more coffee than most people. And you know what? I pick one up at Tim Hortons and that's $1.29 or $2.29 or whatever it is. That's one coffee a day. People go, oh, it's not a big deal. I'm like, but if I do that every single day all year, that's almost $700, $750, $800 that I'm throwing away if I don't keep my receipts. Now, understand that we're all human too, okay? So I talked about at the very, very beginning of this video that bookkeeping and keeping receipts is a skill. So in our first year of business of being conscious of the fact that we need to keep receipts, we're probably going to keep 60%, okay? Next year you might keep 70%, next year 80%, and so on and so forth. And most people are going to top out at about 85% of their receipts. If you are incredibly diligent, that's awesome. Try obviously to keep all of your receipts, but we're all human. I still drive through the drive-thru occasionally and kick myself when I leave and go, oh, I forgot to ask for a receipt. Okay, we're all human. Don't beat yourself up, but you need to do the best that you can. Psychology says that as soon as your brain is aware of the fact that it needs to be doing something, you're 40% more likely to do it just based on that. So that's great, okay? So now I'm telling you, which means you can't tell me that you didn't know that you were supposed to do it. Okay? It's called accountability. But you will see such a difference if you keep those records. So it is very, 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 very important. I'm a mom. I'm going to hammer on this one a little bit. You need to send invoices on a weekly basis. So if you want to get paid and you're doing work, you need to send those invoices out. You need to, if you're sitting down and doing some of your own bookkeeping, then you probably want to be, categorizing transactions in bookkeeping software. So one of the features in QuickBooks Online is that you can import your bank statements into QuickBooks Online. This is awesome. But the software sometimes thinks it's smarter than it is. So every single entry that the bank pulls into your QuickBooks, you need to be going through it and making sure that it's in the right category, it's got the right tax on it, and you need to write memos or attach receipts or anything like that if you need them, so that you can go back and understand what it is that you put in and why you put it in. If you are one of those people that puts away money on a monthly basis for savings or for tax purposes, set yourself a reoccurring amount that you just transfer at the end of the month into your savings account so that you're not surprised when tax time comes around and you have no money. Now, let's talk about some monthly practices. So, monthly practices, you're going to follow up on unpaid invoices. Every business carries an accounts receivable. Unless you are in a completely prepaid or cash-based business, you will probably carry some receivables. So on a monthly basis, you need to be following up on any unpaid invoices. You need to pay your contractors. You need to pay yourself, okay? I know that sometimes people worry and people talk about it. Yes, sometimes as a business owner, we get paid last. That's okay, but you need to make sure your bills are covered as well, because your stress on your end will translate into the business and it'll hurt your overall business health, okay? Normally on a monthly basis, we're reconciling bank balances. So whether you're doing that yourself or we're doing that, we need to be making sure that we have record of every single transaction that went from the beginning of our bank account to the end of our bank account, and that those balances match the previous and following month. We need to pull income statements, balance sheets, and any other reports so we can see what we did in the previous month. A profit and loss or an income statement is one of the easiest ways to just get a quick snapshot of your financial health, okay? It will give you a positive or a negative balance at the bottom, and it will bring in all of your income and all of your expenses. Balance sheet will show you bank balances. They will show you accounts payable and accounts receivables, GST, income tax, what's in your shareholder account, so what you've paid yourself, all of those good things. So both reports are very essential on a monthly basis. We can start making estimated income tax payments on a monthly basis. So if we've decided that, your business is very consistent and you constantly carry a profit in each month, then we can start to do tax forecasting. So we want to talk about, again, getting to that year end and making sure that there's no big surprise tax bills. And this is why doing your books on a regular basis is so important. If your GST is quarterly, if you're a sole proprietorship, you're probably running from January to March, April to June, April to June, July to September, and October to December. So those are very important. We want to watch those periods, and we want to make sure that we're not missing any deadlines and that we're putting away enough that we cover our butts when we come to file those returns. Every month, I suggest that you review your previous month and your previous quarter, and then you can do forecasting to see whether your business is going up or whether your business is going down. Last, again, at the end of the month, we start this at the beginning of the month and we follow it up at the end of the month. We are going to follow up on unpaid invoices again. We are going to give up or send the invoices to collections, okay? We're going to talk about profit. If we made a profit, we're going to sit back, we're going to pat ourselves on the back, and we're going to say, congratulations, we made a profit this month. That's a fantastic thing. If you do not show a profit on the first couple of months, don't beat yourself up, okay? Every business takes a little bit of get up and go to get going to the point where you have a consistent positive profit at the end of every month. Now, we're going to quickly finish this off with some annual bookkeeping. So when we get to the end of a year end, or whether you're a sole prop or whether you're in a corporation, we need to prepare year-end financial statements, receipts, whatever that may be. So we need to be starting to think about our year end. When we are a sole proprietorship, we file from January to December, and we need to file our taxes by the end of April. So you have 4 months to put your records together. This is a lot of time, okay? So if you are squealing by at April 15th and you haven't done anything, quite frankly, you don't have any excuses, because you have 4 months to put your books together, which means if you start that practice in January, there's no reason why you should be crawling up to that April 30th deadline, freaking out that you don't have your books done, okay? If you're a corporation, if your year end is December 31st or May 31st or August 2nd or whatever it may be, you have 90 days from the day that you have a year end to file your taxes. That is very important. Now, don't get me wrong, you have 6 months to file if you don't owe tax. That's when we reach the late filing deadline. But you have 90 days if you owe tax before they start tacking on interest and penalties. So 90 days is a lot of time. We usually say in the first 30 days, that's when you start to say, hey, I have a year end coming up. By 60 days, we should have your books and records. We should be, working on your year end, and we should never be bleeding it over into those 90 days unless we absolutely have to. Obviously, some points of the year are a little bit busier than others, so we do take that into consideration, but we need to be trying to get you well in advance to those deadlines so that we're not squeaking by and we're not getting ourselves into any trouble and paying any more penalties than we have to. We try to talk about renewing annual goals. So what we've actually done versus what we projected. So this is budgeting and accruals and budgeting versus actuals. So we're going to say, hey, this year we thought we would do this. Here's what we actually did. And it's either going to be positive or negative. If it's positive, congratulations. Now we're going to build on that and start forecasting for the next year. If it's negative, then we're going to do some reflection. We're going to say, where did we have room to improve? Okay. So it's not where did we fail? Where did we succeed? It's what did we learn? Where do we improve next year? And we keep going. This is also the point at the end of the year that you evaluate whether you want to be in business for another year. Okay, sometimes that's the conversation that we need to have with ourselves. That's a very important conversation. And then setting new year goals. So what do I want to do with my business next year? And that's going to be different for every person. Maybe it's I just want to stay the same as I was last year, or maybe it's I want to grow. Either choice is great. We want to put those goals on paper. We want to stare at them, memorize them, turn them into things that we say in the morning that become your mantra, because the things that you focus on are the things that happen. And the very last one that we need to do is we need to assess our profit, our tax savings, and our expenses. We need to dig into what actually makes our business, and again, evaluate where we're spending our money, decide whether or not there's things that we need to cut out or there's things that we need to spend a little bit more money on. Maybe there's things that we can get better prices on. Maybe there's contractors we need to hire. Maybe there's people we need to lay off. All of those things are part of your annual review of your books. So there is a article called What Bookkeeping Tasks Need to Be Done and When. It's shared both on Danielle's SOS bookkeeping page as well as in the tax group. So it's the tax group is Tax Tips, Business and Personal. If you guys haven't already joined it, give it a join. We're sharing all kinds of tips and tricks, a lot of articles, a lot of information. Woman on a mission to make taxes a little bit more fun and a little bit more informative, because at the end of the day, your financial health is so important. I get the privilege to work with people's money and people's businesses, and I take that responsibility very seriously, and I'm incredibly thankful when people put their trust in me, because this is what I do. Okay, and if you put your trust in me, then I'm going to teach you the things that will make your business better. I can talk at you until I'm blue in the face, but what you actually choose to do, though, comes down to what you choose to do. So if you guys need to rewatch this video, it's going to be posted on Danielle's SOS Bookkeeping. Next week, what are we talking about next week? So next Wednesday, we are talking about year-end preparation. So there's a lot of you out there within corporations that are due in the middle of the summer, or even just stuff to worry about prepping for the end of the year. We're going to talk about year-end prep items. I'm going to share a couple of posts. Following week, we're going to talk about GST 101. So for those of you that didn't get to watch my previous video on when to get a GST number and how to know you need a GST number, we're going to be retouching on that. And then we're going to be talking about home expenses, vehicle expenses, leadership, marketing, all these fun things. So you guys can see an upcoming list of events on Danielle's SOS bookkeeping page. If you guys have questions about anything that I've gone over in here or more topics that you'd like to see discussed, shoot us a message or comment on this video. We appreciate your feedback, and we appreciate you spending 30 minutes on your Wednesday morning with us, and we'll talk to you later.